Welcome back to the tale of the two New York goalies. Let's start off with the 2000-2001 season, and we'll begin with the Islanders. The New York Islanders 2000-2001 season ended with a record of 21 wins, 51 losses, and 7 ties, totaling 49 points. They finished last in the Atlantic Division and did not qualify for the playoffs. The team was coached by Butch Goring, and the season was marked by struggles both offensively and defensively. The coaching changes for the New York Islanders during the 2000-2001 season had a limited impact on improving the team's performance. Butch Goring started the season as head coach, but was replaced by Lorne Henning in March 2001. While coaching changes can sometimes lead to a short-term improvement in team performances due to a shock effect that boosts players' motivation, this effect is often temporary and did not result in significant long-term improvement for the Islanders. The team continued to struggle, finishing last in the division and missing the playoffs for the 7th consecutive year. The New York Islanders' poor performance during the 2000-2001 season can be attributed to several key factors. Management instability, mentioned before, changing the head coaches mid-season. Defensive weakness, the Islanders allowing 268 goals. Goaltending struggles. Goaltending unit had a poor save percentage of .891. Questionable trades and roster decisions by Mike Milbury weakened the team's overall talent pool. During the 2000-2001 season, the New York Islanders front office viewed Rick DiPietro as a key part of their future. Given that he was a first overall pick in the NHL 2000 draft, General Manager Mike Milbury had high expectations for DiPietro, believing he could be a franchise cornerstone due to his unique skill set and potential to revolutionize the goaltending position. Milbury wanted to start DiPietro in the NHL, however, DiPietro suffered an injury at training camp, which would delay his NHL debut. After DiPietro recovered from his injury, he was sent down to the minor league affiliate, Chicago Wolves. During his time with Chicago, DiPietro had a record of 4 wins, 5 losses, and 2 ties. He had a goal against average of .339 and a save percentage of .880. Now, if you look at these stats, does this say he's ready for the NHL? Most would say no. Now, if he was an established starter recovering and had those stats, then those stats wouldn't be worrisome. But this was someone with 0 NHL experience. But that didn't seem to bother General Manager Mike Milbury. Once he believed he was ready, Milbury called DiPietro for the rest of the season. Despite his struggles during his rookie season, with a 3-win, 15-loss, 1 overtime loss record, and a .878 save percentage, the organization remained optimistic about his long-term development and impact on the team. So now we move on to the other New York team, the Rangers. The New York Rangers 2000-2001 NHL season concluded with a record of 33 wins, 43 losses, 5 ties, and 1 overtime loss, totaling 72 points. They finished 4th in the Atlantic Division and missed the playoffs for the 4th consecutive year. The team struggled defensively, allowing 290 goals against, which was one of the highest in the league. Despite having star players like Brian Leitch and Mark Messier, the Rangers could not secure a playoff spot, leading to ongoing frustration within the organization and among fans. During the 2000-2001 season, the New York Rangers front office viewed Henrik Lundqvist as a long-term prospect rather than an immediate impact player. Drafted in the 7th round of the 2000 NHL draft, Lundqvist was not initially seen as a top goaltending option. Looking up at his stats for the season, Lundqvist has played for multiple teams and, at the age of 18, he was able to play for the Swedish top club for Lunda. Now we move on to the next season of 2001-2002. The New York Islanders 2001-2002 season was a significant turnaround for the organization. Under new head coach Peter Lafayette, the team finished with 96 points, making a major improvement from the previous season. Key acquisitions included Alexei Yashin and Michael Pekka, who became team captain and contributed significantly to the team's success. The Islanders made the playoffs for the first time in 8 years, finishing 5th in the Eastern Conference. Although they lost a 7-game series to the Toronto Maple Leafs, the season was seen as a positive step forward for the franchise. The New York Islanders' breakout season was driven by several key factors. Mentioned before, Alexei Yashin, Michael Pekka, but also Chris Osgood. Adding Osgood was a very good move for the Islanders. This is what they needed to do in the beginning. Let DiPietro develop and have someone in there who isn't part of your long-term plan but can do the job and keep your team competitive. Peter Lafayette was hired as head coach, bringing a fresh approach and helping the team improve significantly. They also started off strong. The Islanders began the season with a franchise-best start of 9 wins, 0 loss, 1 tie, 1 overtime loss, setting a positive tone. Rick DiPietro's 2001-2002 season was primarily spent with the Bridgeport Sound Tigers in the AHL, where he showed significant improvement. He posted a .913 save percentage over 59 games and helped lead the team to the AHL finals. This performance was seen as a positive step in his development, indicating his potential to become a reliable NHL goaltender. The Islanders organization viewed this season as crucial for gaining experience and confidence, setting the stage for the future role with the team. As for the Rangers, not so good. The New York Rangers season ended with a 36-38 4-4 record, placing them 4th in the Atlantic Division and 11th in the Eastern Conference, missing the playoffs for the 5th consecutive year. Key players included Eric Lindros, who led the team with 37 goals and 73 points, and Brian Leetch, who had 45 assists. Despite these individual performances, the team struggled defensively, allowing 258 goals. Ron Lowe was fired as head coach after the season, highlighting ongoing challenges in achieving consistent success. The New York Rangers' poor performance during the 2001-2002 season can be attributed to several key factors. Defensive struggles: the team allowed 258 goals, highlighting significant defensive weaknesses that undermined their efforts. Inconsistent goaltending: despite having notable players, the goaltending was inconsistent, contributing to their defensive issues. Lack of chemistry: the team struggled to find cohesion and consistency in their play, affecting overall performance. Also, their coaching instability, firing their head coach Ron Lowe at the end of the season, indicated ongoing challenges in leadership and strategy. During the 2001-2002 season, the New York Rangers front office did not have a direct assessment of Henrik Lundqvist's performance, as he was playing in Sweden with Frölunda and not yet part of the Rangers NHL roster. Lundqvist was still developing his skills in the Swedish leagues, where he was gaining valuable experience. So neither DiPietro or Lundqvist played in the NHL that season. Both used the season as a year to develop their skills for the future. Now we move along to the 2002-2003 season. The Islanders saw them finish with a record of 35 wins, 34 losses, 11 overtime losses, and 2 ties, earning 83 points and securing the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. This allowed them to make the playoffs for the 2nd consecutive year. However, they were eliminated in the first round by the top-seeded Ottawa Senators in 5 games. The season was marked by a slow start, but a strong enough finish to clinch a playoff spot. Despite making the playoffs, the Islanders' performance led to the firing of head coach Peter Lafayette, who was replaced by Steve Sterling after the season. When researching the story, it seemed shocking that a head coach would be fired after leading the team to back-to-back playoff appearances after not making an appearance all those years. So what happened? Seems like there was a communication breakdown. Mike Milbury, the Islanders GM, cited the breakdown in communication between Lafayette and the players as the primary reason for the dismissal. Milbury stated, "When that line of communication is snapped, it is impossible to secure it again." And playoff performance was another issue. Despite making the playoffs in both seasons under Lafayette, the Islanders were eliminated in the first round both times. In 2003, they lost to the Ottawa Senators in 5 games, which was seen as a disappointment. Also, perceived lack of progress. Milbury felt that the team was backtracking and needed a change to move to the next level and compete for a Stanley Cup. He believed that just making the playoffs was not enough for the organization, which makes sense. However, at this point, This was Mike Milbury's best run as a GM these past 2 seasons. They should have been able to sort things out and get back on track to figure out how to get past the first round. There was also personal conflict. There were indications of a strained relationship between Milbury and Lafayette. Milbury had initially thought Lafayette was his guy, but their relationship deteriorated over time. And last was the coaching style. Lafayette was known for being a tough coach who pushed players to their limits. While initially successful, this approach may have worn thin over time, potentially contributing to the communication issues cited by Milbury. It's worth noting that the decision to fire Lafayette was widely criticized and considered a mistake by many. Lafayette had a .546 win ratio with the Islanders, second only to Al Arbor at that time, and went on to have a significant success with other teams, including winning the Stanley Cup with the Carolina Hurricanes just 2 seasons later. During the 2002-2003 season, the New York Islanders front office viewed Rick DiPietro's performance as part of his ongoing development. DiPietro played in 10 NHL games, recording a 2 wins, 5 loss, 2 overtime loss record, with a goals against average of 2.97 and a save percentage of .894. His limited NHL play was supplemented by a strong showing in the AHL with the Bridgeport Sound Tigers, where he posted a goal against average of 2.14 and a save percentage of .924. The organization likely saw this season as a step forward in his maturation process, prepping him for a more prominent role in the future. It's definitely good for them to see him have a solid year in the NHL. It shows that he is improving as a goaltender, and he is making efforts to become a top goalie that he is projected to be. I'm sure that would have liked his stats in the NHL to be lower, but the fact that his AHL stats were exceptional gave the Islanders confidence that he will be a top goaltender. So now for the Rangers, it's been the same. The New York Rangers season ended with a record of 32 wins, 36 losses, 10 overtime losses, 4 ties, placing them 4th in the Atlantic Division and 9th in the Eastern Conference, which meant they missed the playoffs for the 6th consecutive year. The season was marked by instability as head coach Brian Trottier was replaced mid-season by general manager Glenn Sather. Despite having star players like Mark Messier, Eric Lindros, and Pavel Bure, the team struggled with consistency and defensive issues, allowing 231 goals while scoring only 210. This performance highlighted ongoing challenges within the organization. During the 2002-2003 season, Henrik Lundqvist was still playing in Sweden with Frölunda, and the New York Rangers front office viewed him as a promising prospect. Lundqvist was gaining recognition for his strong performances in the Swedish league, including winning the Honken Trophy for the best goaltender. The organization saw him as a future asset, but he had not yet joined the NHL team, so their assessment focused on his potential rather than immediate impact. During the 2002-2003 season, Henrik Lundqvist played for Frölunda HC in the Swedish league. He appeared in 28 games, achieving a goal against average of 1.45 and a save percentage of .948, along with 6 shutouts. These impressive stats highlighted his development and potential as a top goaltender. This would be the first season where now management are aware of what they have in their system. They have a rising goaltending prospect who could be beneficial for the team in the years to come and will be watched carefully as he continues to develop. On to the next season for the Islanders. The Islanders' 2003-2004 season ended with a record of 38 wins, 29 losses, 11 overtime losses, and 4 ties, securing 91 points and placing them 7th in the Eastern Conference. This performance allowed them to qualify for the playoffs for the 3rd consecutive year. However, they were eliminated in the first round by the Tampa Bay Lightning in 5 games. The season was marked by consistent play, but the team struggled to advance past the initial playoff round. Key players included Alexei Yashin and Michael Pekka, who contributed significantly to their regular season success. Despite the early playoff exit, the season was seen as a continuation of their competitive presence in the league. They made the playoffs for the 3rd consecutive year, demonstrating consistency. However, their first round exit against the Tampa Bay Lightning in 5 games highlighted areas needing improvement, particularly in playoff performance. The season was marked by solid regular season play, but underscored the need to further development to advance deeper into the playoffs. As for Rick DiPietro's season, this was seen as a breakthrough. He played 50 games, achieving a goal against average of 2.36 and a save percentage of .911, both above average compared to other NHL goalies that year. DiPietro's performance was seen as a positive step in his development, solidifying his role as the team's starting goaltender and contributing significantly to their playoff qualification. Rick DiPietro had a great full season with the Islanders. Now that the Islanders feel good with DiPietro taking over the main goaltending duties and can now build around the team they have. The Rangers again had a bad season. The New York Rangers' 2003-2004 season ended with a record of 27 wins, 40 losses, 7 overtime losses, 8 ties, placing them 13th in the Eastern Conference and missing the playoffs for the 7th consecutive year. Key issues included defensive struggles as they allowed 250 goals while scoring only 206. Despite having notable players like Mark Messier and Jaromir Jagr, who was acquired mid-season, the team lacked consistency and depth. The season highlighted ongoing challenges within the organization, leading to further evaluations and changes in strategy. During the season, there was a coaching change. Glenn Sather stepped down as head coach on February 25, 2004, to focus on his duties as general manager. Tom Rennie was named interim head coach. During the 2003-2004 season, Henrik Lundqvist was still playing in Sweden with Frölunda HC. The New York Rangers viewed him as a promising prospect. Lundqvist continued to impress by winning the Honken Trophy as the league's best goaltender for the second consecutive year, showcasing his development and potential. The organization saw him as a future asset, recognizing his strong performances and potential impact once he joined the NHL. So, let's take a moment and see where we are with our two New York goaltenders. Rick DiPietro is now starting to look like the top goaltending prospect he was to be believed, having an exceptional first full season with the Islanders and giving the organization a sign of relief, knowing that they have their goaltender of the future. As for the Rangers' goaltending prospect, Lundqvist is now rising to not only being the top European goaltending prospect, but one of the top European prospects in hockey. At this point, he's a back-to-back winner of the best goalie in Sweden. The Rangers have their goalie of the future and are having him continue to develop to become ready for the NHL. With both goalies coming off of successful campaigns in the 2003-2004 season, they are now ready to build off that season and continue their development. Well, that was the plan. However, the league and the Player Association had other plans for the next season. A lockout. The 2004-2005 NHL lockout was a labor dispute that led to the cancellation of the entire NHL season. The main issue was the league's desire to implement a salary cap, which was opposed by the NHL Players Association. The lockout began on September 16, 2004, and ended on July 22, 2005, after an agreement was reached that included a salary cap and revenue sharing. This was the first time a North American professional sport league canceled an entire season due to a labor dispute, resulting in no Stanley Cup being awarded for the first time since 1919. The 2004-2005 NHL lockout had several long-term effects on the league's financial stability. With the implementation of the salary cap, the new collective bargaining agreement introduced a salary cap, which helped control team spending and created a more level playing field between small and large market teams. And there was revenue sharing. The agreement included revenue sharing, benefiting smaller market teams and promoting financial stability across the league. Also, there was new television deals. Post-lockout, the NHL secured better television deals, including with NBC, which helped increase revenue and visibility. Overall, these changes contributed to improved financial health and competitive balance in the league. The NHL Player Association had several arguments against the implementation of a salary cap during the 2004-2005 lockout. They want preservation of the marketplace system. The NHLPA preferred to maintain the existing system where players individually negotiated contracts with teams, allowing teams full control over spending on player salaries. There was a mistrust on financial claims. The union disputed the league's financial claims, arguing that cost certainty was merely a euphemism for a salary cap they had vowed never to accept. They believed the league's reported financial losses were exaggerated. And there was opposition to revenue linking. The NHLPA opposed linking the salary cap to league revenues, fearing it would unfairly limit players' salaries and reduce their earning potential. The NHL suggested several alternative systems for managing players' salaries during the lockout. They proposed a luxury tax system instead of a hard salary cap, where teams exceeding a certain payroll threshold would pay a tax, which would then be redistributed to lower revenue teams. And revenue sharing, the NHLPA advocated for more comprehensive revenue sharing to help financially weaker teams without imposing strict salary limits. They also talked about temporary salary reductions. They offered temporary salary reductions and a flexible salary structure that would adjust based on league revenues, aiming to balance financial stability with fair player compensation. With the lockout now over, we can get back to how this lockout affected our two goaltenders. For Rick DiPietro, this lockout impacted him by delaying his development and momentum. Before the lockout, DiPietro had shown promise, but the lost season interrupted his progress. His last playing season was great, and now he went a full season without playing. And as for Henrik Lundqvist, he was still playing in Sweden, and his year was one to remember. He had an outstanding season, breaking several national records, including the lowest goals against average, 1.05, and highest save percentage, .962. Lundqvist also won the Honken Trophy for the third consecutive year and was named the league's MVP. His performance solidified his reputation as one of the top goaltenders in Sweden before joining the NHL. So not only did DiPietro's season was on hold, his development was as well. DiPietro lost a whole year and momentum, while Lundqvist went on to have the greatest season in Swedish hockey history, winning every award he could possibly win, including the league MVP. Now that Lundqvist has accomplished everything he could in Swedish league, he has now proven that he is more than ready to take on the goaltending duties for the Rangers. And now, both New York teams have their franchise goaltenders and are ready to turn their team around and have successful runs for the Stanley Cup. This ends the second episode. We'll catch you in the third episode next time.